Well, hi folks, and welcome to Isle of Wight Bushcraft. Well, as we know guys, the foremost means of fire lighting for the bushcrafter, for the wild camper, probably the hiker and backpacker as well, is the ferro rod, because it doesn't matter if it gets wet, it never runs out of gas, so it's a very useful bit of kit. So in this video I'll be showing you a new Isle of Wight bushcraft method of using the ferro rod. So stay tuned. Well, no doubt you'll agree that we've all got a ferro rod in our camping equipment, our kit. It's a very important piece of kit because it does mean that if we've got a ferro rod, we've always got a means of lighting fire. But we know that we can use several methods. We can use the spine of the knife and scrape down the ferro rod to throw sparks on a combustible material such as fatwood dust or birch bark. And that will throw quite a few sparks onto our combustible material. And when you're using this method of striking the knife down the length of the ferro rod, as I said, you will put sparks out, but you've got your knife that's waving about. But also, do you sometimes find that when you're using this method that this happens? Well, we can also use this method of using the ferro rod, whereby we're placing our thumb against the blade of the knife and holding our ferro rod in the palm and just using, and also putting our thumb on the ferro rod itself and just pushing the point of the knife down the ferro rod, really to give directed sparks to our combustible material. So we can just direct our, but even so, even then, we're still chance of slipping with the knife and sending our combustible material everywhere. And as you can see, it's not really working that well with this ferro rod. I'm getting plenty of scrapings, but very few sparks. And this is using the jumbo ferro, which is a little bit better. So you do direct your sparks in. It's a good method some of the time. The problem with this method is it doesn't work with every type of ferro rod, and again it still means your blade is moving. So you've got, I don't know about you, but my bushcraft knife is always razor sharp. So when you're waving this around, there's more likelihood you're going to cut yourself, which you don't want to happen in the field. So like I said a moment ago, if we can devise a method where we're not even moving the knife at all, then obviously that's preferable. I got to thinking, well, is there a way that we can use the ferro rod where we haven't got to be waving the knife around? So I've come up with this method, the Isle of Wight bushcraft method of lighting the ferro rod, which I call the standing knife method. So we'll pop over here and I'll demonstrate it to you. Now I'll demonstrate to you the Isle of Wight bushcraft standing knife method. Again, I think it's a method that's a lot safer, and it will also give you directed sparks to your combustible material. So I'll bring you in and I'll show you what I mean. So first of all, we take our knife, our bushcraft knife, and put it in to maybe a stump or any other piece of wood you got, and make sure that's firmly in. Then all we do is we then take our combustible material, in this case I'm using fat wood, on a little slither or square of birch bark to hold it, and then all we just simply do is just put that by the side of our knife, and then all we do is we take our ferro rod, hold onto the handle of the knife, and then take the ferro rod and just simply strike it against the spine of our knife. Now I'll just take this material away for the moment because I don't want to ignite it, but I'll just show you what I mean from there. So you can see that we put in our ferro rod, and just you can see the sparks directly down where we want them. So we're pulling the ferro rod, getting the sparks, leaving that little bit of dust there ignited. We're getting the sparks exactly where we want them. We're not waving the knife. The knife is standing, it's fixed in place, can't do any damage at all. There we are. So there we go. If we put our combustible material just by the spine of the knife, and then we hold the handle of the knife, and then all we do is we put our ferro rod and pull it across the knife. Look at that, first time. Very efficient, very safe. There we are. Okay, so I'll just demonstrate that for you again. So we take our knife, put that firmly into our log or our piece of wood, whatever we've got to hand, and take our combustible material. In this case I'm using, as I said, some fat wood dust and shavings on a little square slither of birch bark. Hold our knife by the handle, as you can see there, take our ferro rod and then just strike it across the spine of the knife, making sure our ferro rod is level. If you do it at an angle, obviously you're going to knock your combustible material. We just take it across the spine of our knife and just give it a good firm strike across the spine of the knife. There we go. The sparks are directed down into the combustible material. The knife is standing, it's stationary, it's not going to do any harm. And one strike, we're saving wear and tear on our precious ferro rods. So the advantages of that method, guys, is particularly for young ones, if they're learning, they're less liable to cut themselves. But I'm a great believer in why take the risk if you don't need to. By putting that knife stationary into the wood, it's not waving about, it can't do any damage. So I hope you found that useful, guys. And why not try that method yourself? You might need a couple of little practice shots with it, but just give that method a try. And in your comments below, just tell me what you think. Tell me if you think that's a valuable addition. I'm not saying it's going to replace all the other methods. Each method, it has its place. But again, the more options we've got, the better. So like I say, give it a try, guys, and see what you think. And in your comments below, tell me what you think. Now, if you'd like to subscribe, guys, to get more video content, hit the subscribe button down below the box there. And if you want to keep up with the latest videos on Isle of Wight Bushcraft, then just click on the notification bell. But if you'd rather not subscribe, well, that's no problem, guys. Understand that not everybody wants to. It is helpful for the channel if you do. Well, thanks for joining me again, guys. And all being well, I'll see you on the next video. So for the moment, take care, bye for now, and see you next time.